The Unwritten Employee Handbook by Audrey, Carly, Bruno, and Brittany. Hi, I'm Brittany Lycan, and for this project that we put together, we are going to be discussing office talk with Audrey, professional attire with Carly, and kitchen etiquette with Bruno. We wanted to give everyone a little bit of an idea of some unwritten employee rules that should be in the handbook, but that aren't.
My name is Audrey, and I'd like to talk about some things that we shouldn't be talking about at work. In many cases, we spend more time with our coworkers than we do with our families, so it makes sense that we develop friendships with each other, but we should always be respectful to everyone in our conversations at work. Some of the topics seem like common sense, and others depend on the situation. Like politics, for example. It's almost guaranteed that you'll butt heads with someone who disagrees with your political views. But it's okay to talk about your religion as long as you don't pressure others to adopt it. No one wants to know about your romantic life or the gory details of your health problems. Family problems shouldn't be discussed, and neither should your financial ones. I say career aspirations because your boss doesn't need to know if you plan on taking their job someday, and salary is always a big no-no. It's okay to let people know about your side business, but don't pressure them to patronize it. And disgruntlement about your job should be discussed only with the appropriate supervisors, and avoid gossip at all costs, especially concerning matters of confidentiality. And lastly, cursing is just unprofessional. Regardless of where we are, we should always stop and think before we speak. If what you have to say would make someone at your work uncomfortable, it's probably better left unsaid. Now, you might be wondering, what can we talk about? Sports and hobbies are usually safe topics. No one minds hearing good news about your family. I get a lot of good recipes and dinner ideas from my coworkers, as well as restaurant suggestions. It's okay to talk about a concert you're excited about, or major life events like a wedding or graduation, of course. Go ahead and talk about your favorite music, your weekend plans, or your goals. Definitely share your ideas for improving processes and efficiency at work, and spread some positivity by talking about what you like about your job. And even though it can be scary, speak up if you don't know how to do something. It'll benefit you and your coworkers in the long run. Remember, too much of a good thing is not a good thing. Don't overdo it with any of these topics, and you'll be okay.
My name is Carly Weber, and in this section of our slideshow, I'm going to go over professional appearances. Generally, professional clothing is covered in your employee handbook, but I'm going to go over the things that aren't necessarily addressed in your handbook. Things that are common courtesies to your fellow employees, as well as your employer, and things that make you appear more professionally. One of my favorite quotes is by Regina Brett. It says, "No matter how you feel, get up, dress up, and show up." Professional attire is important because it's all about first impressions. The first thing people see is the way you look, and so you want to ensure that what you are showing them is what you want them to see. You want to ensure that you're dressing appropriately for the job you have. If you're in a professional setting, you want to ensure you're dressed professionally. If you're in an industrial setting, you want to ensure that you are dressed for the industry that you are working in. You want to ensure that your clothing is not loud and flashy and distracting from what your company is trying to promote. You want to ensure that your clothing is professional. You want to make sure that you're clean and neat. You don't want to look like you just rolled out of bed and threw on some clothing. You want to look together. And you want to ensure that your clothing fits. You don't want things that are too small. You don't want things that are too big. You want to look like you actually put in some effort to show up to work and put your best foot forward. Hygiene tends to be a little bit of a hot button when it comes to employee settings. It's one of those things that not only affects your own personal well-being, but it also involves the well-being of your coworkers, your employers, as well as any customers you come in contact with. So when it comes to your hygiene, you want to ensure that you're showering or bathing on a regular basis. This helps to ensure that you're not only clean, but it also helps to make sure that you're not spreading germs. You want to make sure that your hair and face are clean. Again, this comes back down to germs, bugs, things of that nature. You don't want to be sharing that with your coworkers or with your customers. It reflects poorly on you, as well as it can affect your health negatively. You want to brush your teeth, make sure that your breath smells fresh. There's nothing worse than when you're going in to talk to somebody about a problem you have with their company or something that you want to purchase, and you can't focus on what they're saying because their breath smells so bad. You want to make sure that your hands and nails are clean. You don't want to be, getting into things when you're dirty, like especially if you're in a food industry or any industry that involves sanitation. You have to make sure your hands and nails are clean. You also want to make sure that you're not spreading germs from one person to the next. And you also need to check yourself for scents. Sometimes we don't even realize how bad our body odor is. So it's good to smell yourself. Make sure that you're not being offensive to your coworkers or your customers. Make sure that you're doing your best to keep yourself germ-free.
Hi, this is Bruno. This is Kitchen Etiquette. It's going to be a guideline for office workers. Okay, I'll be talking about kitchen etiquette. First things first, clean up after yourself. No one wants to see a dirty sink or see crumbs all over the kitchen table or the kitchen itself. Making sure that you return the space to how it was before is very important for your co-workers and your management. Second thing is watch the odors. It's very easy to leave food hanging around and leaving it to where it gets spoiled. No one wants that in an office. And then if you clean up your plates, the food isn't going to stick there, and if there's a less likely chance of it smelling. And then with sandwiches too, making sure food in general, making sure that your food isn't too smelly for an office type environment, as no one likes to smell that. Number 3 is label your food. It's when you work in an office, sometimes you want to take ownership of a fridge, but in reality it's for everybody. So it's good to label your food. So for a couple reasons, it makes it harder for someone to steal the food because they see a name on it. And when someone's throwing out food, they know who it was. And that way there's no mix up. And if also someone needs the food and doesn't know who it belongs to. Number 4 is removing leftovers after a while. I think this is very important because food can spoils anything, it's biodegradable. You want to be considerate for your coworkers and get rid of anything, even if it's not yours. Get anything that's spoiled or smells bad. Kitchen, because it could just make the fridge. It can make the fridge smell bad, and the kitchen too. And then number 5, if it's not yours, please don't eat it. This is very important because in a lot of office environments, there's always cases of people grabbing food that isn't theirs, and it is not nice. And you never know why the person has that food. It could be for medical reasons or dietary reasons, and they may not be able to eat anything else for the day. Alright, and I'll continue with kitchen etiquette. The next one is make coffee as needed. It's very important if you're the last person, for example, to refill it, make sure there's enough coffee, and clean it if you can. You want to leave it as the same as possible for the next coworker. The overall theme of all these is making sure the next coworker gets the same experience as you, and no one has to deal with bad odors, and they have the availability to drink coffee when they need to drink it. The next one's going to be let the person know when supplies are low. This could apply to the administrative assistant, purchasing agent, or a supervisor. If you can let them know ahead of time that the supplies are low, then they can actually go to the store and buy some before it starts to run out or it runs out, which leads to really an inconvenience for everybody, because it's not something that's at the top of the priority list for supervisors and purchasing agents, but it's something that needs to be done. Number 3 is don't take up a lot of space. This can apply with the food in the fridge or the food on the table. It's like the main overall theme again is just to be considerate of your coworkers. You can't have a lot of food in the fridge that doesn't allow other people to have anything in there. And then this applies to the table too. You can't just have all your plates and all your food and all your snacks just on one area. Everybody should have the same amount of access to the table and the refrigerator. And then and a really important one that I feel like doesn't get thought about a lot is offer to clean up after events. If there's special events in your work or organization, it's very important that you can say, even if you want part of it, hey, I'll clean up the plates, or I'll do this. I'll make sure it's ready to go for the next time. This will make your coworkers think highly of you, as you're putting your foot out there and making sure everything is nice and clean and ready for the next time. And in conclusion, and with kitchen etiquette, you just want to make sure, like I said, overall throughout these slides, is to be considerate of everybody. Make sure you return everything to the way it was before you had a chance to use it. And as long as you keep up with these steps, you should be ready to go, should be set in your office environment.
Hello again, this is Brittany. For our conclusion, we really wanted to stress that office talk, professional attire, and kitchen etiquette are all part of being professional at any job or location. With this video, we hope to encourage others to think before they talk, to look professional, and to think of others when it comes to the kitchen. Though this may seem pretty common for most people, we really hope that it reaches out to everyone to do their part to make their work environment more productive and comfortable for everyone involved.